Greetings and a warm welcome to the 10 o'clock news from the EV Café, brought to you this week by the truly magnificent Churchill Insurance. Oh, yes! Thank you.
Oh, I'm nodding. I did nodding.
Bless you. Good work, good work. I'm John Curtis, and please note that this is a recording and we may not be able to answer comments as quickly or indeed at all. But we love you dearly. Thank you for being here. We've got some other stuff that we're doing in London, which is all a bit hush-hush, net zero stuff, which is really, really important. And we'll bring you some more on that when we can. Today, I'm joined by the Barbara Cox Woman of the Year, Sarah Sloman, and Sam Clark. So grab a cuppa and plug in for the latest in clean? Why can I not say this? Clean transport and sustainability news. And as I mentioned, our very own Sarah Sloman, Chief Strategy Officer at Paythrough, won the coveted Barbara Cox Woman of the Year award. The award recognises inspirational female leaders in the automotive industry, and from a shortlist of 6 inspirational female leaders, Sarah emerged as the judge's choice. All of the shortlist demonstrated excellence in the industry, but we beside ourselves with excitement. Sarah, what was it like?
Oh, it was so uplifting. The second I arrived, I said, whatever happens today, us 6 have made a moment in time, because there's 6 of us here in 2023 as the shortlist. But I think for me, the award means so much because it isn't just about what I've done for work. It's about the collaboration I've done for people in general, charity, and just really trying to fly that flag for pushing harder to your goals, whatever your goals are, but not doing it on your own. I think that's why the award is about collaboration. So yeah, still getting over it. I do apologise to anyone who's contacted me and I haven't replied. I'm getting there, but every single message I'm reading and I'm taking it all on board. But yeah, I was completely surprised and blown away, and I don't think people believe that. They think I thought I had it. I didn't think I had it. You can tell when I started nearly crying at the end.
Sam, you and I both watched it live. What did you take from it?
I think it was excellent. I did watch it live, and I was really interesting to listen to all the contributors, not just Sass, but obviously I'm delighted that she won, but also that, the fact that you conducted yourself so brilliantly, as a person, not just as a woman, but as a person that's achieving so much in the industry. So, well done. Just well done. It's brilliant. It's just couldn't be happy for you. It's really, really good.
And that's what came through for me was, I remember somebody met you for the first time and they came to me afterwards and said, she can't be that good. She can't be that nice all the time. Is this a performance? And I said, no, that's Sarah. And he's like, no way. And I'm like, no, seriously, she genuinely is everything she purports to be and more. You're just a superstar. So bless you for being here. Thank you for staying. We'll see you when you go to Hollywood and the film is made of your life. Who will play you, by the way, in the film of your life?
Alan Partridge.
Aha! Right. Well, we've got some good news as a group as well, because we're delighted to announce that the EV Cafe has been shortlisted for the Green Startup of the Year 2023. In a year of record applications, we are so excited. Whilst we've been in existence for 3 years, the EV Cafe is still young enough to meet the competition criteria for a startup. Johnny Berry, oft seen on our webinars, said we are one big community of like-minded people hurtling towards significant environmental challenges in our world. We have net zero through collaboration at our core and superb partners who share the objective of operating net zero businesses. Being shortlisted for this prestigious award is an important step in accelerating the transition to clean transport and getting key messages to a wider audience. We'd like to thank a lot of people for getting us to this point. Our Patreon sponsors, our partners, My Energy, who had faith in us as we set out on our journey. They were the first partner that we had, before being joined by Geotab, the AA, EV Civil Solutions, Churchill Insurance, Interval, and most recently McIntyre Hudson and Spiri. But most of all, we'd like to thank you, because every week you show up and you show us your support by tuning in, commenting, liking what we do. It's unusual for us, but we are genuinely humbled and just hope that we might scoop up the award for you guys. What do you think, Sam? It came as a bit of a surprise that we were selected and shortlisted.
No, I think it's great, but I'm going to say something a little bit controversial, and that is to say, I don't actually care if we win or not, frankly. We've been shortlisted. It's amazing. And what I think is more valuable to me in a way is, my day job at GridServe is a busy one, but it's very, very often I find myself referring to something that we've done because we've covered so many different topics in the EV world. And whenever I sort of almost slightly embarrassingly say, I don't know if you've heard of the EV Café or not, every time it's a yes, every time. So everyone I speak to knows what we've created. And I think if anything, that's as good to me because we've spread the message totally within our industry. I think that's undeniable. Everybody knows who we are and why we're doing it, probably more importantly. The challenge, as it's always been, is to break those church walls, and hopefully accolades like this will help us accelerate that mission. But yeah, it's an amazing thing. It's great if we win, but at the same time, I'm just humbled by everything that we've been able to achieve together as a group over 3 years.
Yeah. Definitely. The awards are on the 1st of June, and I have a horrible suspicion that Sam's white DJ might come out again.
I was going to have to.
Anyway, in a follow-up to a story that we carried first in January, almost 2/3 of fleets would not support extending the first MOT from 3 years to 4 years. New research suggests government proposals published in January included changing the frequency of the vehicle safety test and improving monitoring of emissions to tackle pollution. Ministers claim that the changes are necessary because today's vehicles are built better and are more resilient to wear and tear, particularly with electric vehicles having fewer moving parts. The government says pushing the requirement for the first MOT back from 3 to 4 would also save money. However, interestingly, fleets fear that changing the current testing regime would be detrimental to road safety and suggest that vehicle mileages should be taken into account rather than just the age of a car or van. The government consultation on possible changes to the MOT closes on March the 22nd and it's been extended. So if you've got a view on this, please look it up on the DFT website, MOT changes, and you'll find the consultation and you can make your views known. It's going to consult even further once those reviews have taken place, and then an impact assessment will be made on those proposals. Now, I kind of agree with the fleet industry actually, because it's possible to do 20,000 miles over 6 years or 100,000 in 1 year. Sarah, do you have any view on this?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was just thinking. It's got to be a case by case, and also the fleet manager has their own right to do their own testing as and when they feel is necessary compared to their mileage, I suppose. So I guess maybe there'll be a segmentation of high mileage vehicles versus not, and the lesser mileage ones won't need such rigorous MOT testing. But at the same time, is it helping us? Because I know we've still got issues with the skills gap, people on the tools not training up in colleges and universities. So 4 years from now, we'll need those people. But I wonder if that's got something to do with it as well, sort of eking out the demand from that side of our fence.
Yeah, and there's definite demand. Do you see that there's going to be a detriment to the industry, Sam, if we do go to 4 years before its first MOT, and then the impacts that is likely to have?
I think the delineation between mileage and time is an important one, and probably fuel type as well. Because in terms of electric vehicles having a much longer duration of and lack of maintenance requirements, etc., for longer periods, I think there is an element to that. And let's not forget, an MOT is designed to test roadworthiness. If a vehicle, to your point, has done 100,000 miles in a year, it's not going to be as roadworthy as one that's only done 5. So to say that a mileage or time element, whichever comes first, seems like a logical thing to do. I suppose from a government perspective, it's harder to manage mileage because that is the onus on and to police, I suppose. Whereas they know when a vehicle is registered, so they know when it needs an MOT. Whereas on mileage, they don't know how many miles that vehicle has done. So whether or not it needs to be mandated, perhaps, that the mileage is sent from vehicles to the government in order for them to be able to police it. So I think mileage is more important. I think that's a more logical thing to do, but I'm not sure how easy it is to police it, to make it widespread.
Speaking of logic, it made me realise as well, actually the servicing schedules don't have to adhere to this 4-year rule. So no. we know from the AA that it's the usual stuff, your headlights and and the electrics and then the tyres are what usually goes. So as long as the service maintenance schedule is adequate for your mileage, then the MOT probably shouldn't really matter, especially if the majority of the fleets are electric by then.
And I guess a lot of that is self-policed at the moment. So when you need a service, that's based on mileage, not age. So you know when a service is due and you go and you get it done. And I wonder if there's a similar approach for MOTs, that if you know your vehicle has done 25, 30,000 miles, you are obliged by law to get it done. And if you're stopped and you don't have a valid MOT for a vehicle with 30,000 miles on it, you are in deep trouble. The consultation is really important. There are clearly lots of views here, so please take the opportunity to tell the government what you think. Let's move on. New van registrations. We're talking vans, and Kirby's not here. New van registrations were up 8.5% in February, delivering the month's best performance since 1998. A total of 17,540 new vans were sold in February, according to the SMMT. February is traditionally a volatile month due to small volumes, as many operators delay procurements until March and the new number plate. Growth was driven by surging demand for larger vans. Registrations of vans weighing 2.5 to 3.5 tonnes rose by 14%, more than two-thirds of the total market. Medium-sized vans, 2 tonnes to 2.5 tonnes, fell by 16.5% correspondingly, and the smaller volume pickup in 4x4 utility segments both saw double-digit growth, up 42 and 91% respectively. Now then, here's a bit of sad news. Deliveries of battery electric vans, meanwhile, declined, down 44.5% on a particularly strong February in 2022. And I suppose the question there is, Sam, should we base too much on 1 month's figures?
Never base it on 1 month's figures, for sure, especially in the car market when you've got something like Tesla, which has such an effect on the overall statistics. Although in this case, that's not the case, because obviously it's a far more widespread portfolio of automotive OEMs. But what to say? I think the larger vehicle sizes doesn't surprise me. I've been saying for over 10 years now that I'm not a huge fan of things like cargo cycles that simply can't carry volume. Now that we're ordering so much more, these vans need to be larger, but we need less of them so they can be more efficient, deliver more packages per vehicle. So that's why I think there's a trajectory towards slightly larger vans. It makes sense to me. We just need less of them so that we haven't got 17 different delivery vans knocking on our door every day when it could have been consolidated. But that's a whole other logistics debate. As far as the electric vehicle decline is concerned, I think, as Paul said many times before, we've got a lot of challenges in this sector with commercial electric vehicles, not least the charging infrastructure, which is not designed for their purpose yet. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done in order to get people in a comfortable place that they not only can they charge at their depots with comfort without too much cost and exposure, but also when they want to go further afield, which many commercial vehicles do, they've got the infrastructure to support it. And the government's looking heavily now at very large stuff. Everyone's tackling the small stuff in terms of cars and trucks. There's not a huge amount of effort going on in the middle, and that's where we need to, as a collective industry, I think, need to focus a little bit more effort on how we support the commercial sector in that window, so that those sales will continue to go up, not come down.
And it was very much the same for vans for years, wasn't it? We worried about cars and how we're going to get cars on the road, and then people were saying, oh, we need to get vans on, and it seems very slow and there aren't very many. We're in that phase again. It's cyclical, Sarah, isn't it? And you're a strategic expert. We see these patterns emerging time after time, that we move from one problem, solved, next problem, move on, deal with it.
Yeah, we're in a race as well to the 2030 deadline for stopping the manufacturing, and a lot of fleet managers are looking at their cycles and thinking, I can sneak in one more petrol or diesel round of vans, I'm pretty sure. And in the meantime, we know on the grapevine from our connected circles that there are large fleets cancelling some electric orders because they're just fearful of exactly what Sam said. It's interesting as well, the principle of large versus small, where London is doing something different to the rest of the country, where London wants fewer deliveries by larger vehicles and the rest of the country seems to be focused on micro consolidation and designing cities to cope with that. Okay.
I think that you've lost that point. It's gone. Forget it. Write that one off. Move on.
It's all good.
Could you two behave, please? I don't know why you always... Every time. Anyway, fleet and business new car registrations have, however, gone up 29% in February, which is great news. There were 45,050 new company cars registered to fleet and businesses in the month, compared to 31,000 in February 2022. Year to date, fleet and business registrations stand at 117,000, 40% up on the first 2 months of last year. That's amazing. So cars are still going out the doors, and business seems to be booming. You finding that with GridServe, Sam? And how's the salary sacrifice product taking off?
Oh, I'm so glad you said that. We've launched the fact that it's just about to start, so we're very excited, and we've got a long list already of people who are ready to sign up. So I think it's going to continue to. I think salary sacrifice is going to have a bit of resurgence now, as people recognise the tax efficiencies of doing it that way. And that won't last forever. All of these incentives that we have and have had over many decades now, in terms of EV, having to help accelerate the uptake of EVs. This is another one which is an absolute cracker. So salary sacrifice, particularly if you're a small SME now, we've got products. GridServe has created a product for that market, whereas typically for salary sacrifice for vehicles was for large hundreds and hundreds of vehicles fleets, which precluded some of the smaller ones. So I think it's going to be a really, really good growth market again, until such time as it becomes so big that the government will inevitably taper down those incentives. But I think we're miles away from that being an issue. I think it's I think this particular sector of the fleet market will continue to grow.
I'm curious about that actually. So does yours wrap in the GridServe charging as well on the highway?
Yes, it will do in the fullness of time. So we've got as you know, Sass, the GridServe is lots of different component parts, and we're trying our best to grow
that'd be perfect, wouldn't it?
Alarming high rate, but also trying to stitch these things together. So absolutely,
I love my lease. Mine's a salary sacrifice lease, and even though I pay through the nose for it, it's way more than it should be. I think it's actually really nice to know that it doesn't really. I can use any of the Tesla network, and it's not an additional cost. It's already wrapped in. So in terms of managing a household, I love the fact that even though it is above what I probably should be paying for it, I know it's just that's never going to cost me more than that figure, and I really find that helpful.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why we got into the sector, is we didn't just want to generate energy and sell it to people on an infrastructure, but actually sell vehicles to them as well. And it stands to reason, therefore, that if we're leasing electric vehicles and we have our own, the largest, the highest utilised infrastructure in the country, it stands to reason we should be using that to support the vehicles within salary sacrifice and beyond. So yeah, the answer is most definitely those two things will be intertwined.
It's compelling as well, because you guys are still expanding the network, and your numbers are crazy as they are. But at the moment, yes, there's no need to wrap it in, because I think in 1 year's time from now, GridServe will have even more charging opportunities. So yeah, perfect timing.
Oh yes. Now then, finally,
Yes.
I tell you, this bit now is really key. The EV Café Takeaway podcast this week, launched on Wednesday, featured the Barbara Cox Woman of the Year, Sarah Sloman, talking to the outstanding Jordan Brompton of My Energy, the Great British Entrepreneur of the Year, and Paul Kirby. So search for the EV Café Takeaway on Spotify, Apple, Google, or our very own website, and listen to us interview the great and the good of the industry, learning about their lives and the real people behind the job title. Sarah, you and Paul did a great job with Jordan. She's easy to interview, but my goodness, that woman is amazing.
Yeah, she is. Again, it was all about authenticity. And when you speak to Jordan, you really get the sense that she knows her value, she knows her worth, and she knows what she can achieve with that. There's a really wonderful moment during that podcast where we say to her, how did it all happen? And she said, well, she just fell in love with her business partner's heart and mind and brain. They realized they could do a lot together, and she said something like, and I knew I could market the hell out of this and make this a success. And I think on International Women's Day, to see Jordan come out with that is just a really nice piece. But you're on there's lots of people coming up. I don't know how many you and Paul have got in the bag, but you're kind of featuring different parts of the EV Cafe and new guests. 9 already. So yeah. I have got it on subscribe. I choose Apple for my platform, so it just tells me when the next one's available.
Yeah, I got Spotify. Sam, have you listened to any of them yet?
No.
Not yet, but I certainly will do, and that's a good idea from Sass in terms of subscription on Apple to notify me. Otherwise, that's why I haven't listened to them, because no one tells me. So I will do that as soon as we finish this.
See, always honest on the EV Cafe. Now then, if you have any clean transport, PR or news stories you'd like us to cover, please send them to us at hello@evcafe.org. Until next Friday, it's goodbye from me. It's goodbye from Sarah Sloman, the Barbara Cox Woman of the Year, and the inimitable Sam Clark. Bless you both for being here. It's worth noting that our friends at Fleet News hold a monthly webinar on all things fleet and it's got Laura McAteer as one of the panel members. This month, it's on the 31st of March 2023. Check out Fleet News for details. This has been an EV Cafe production, brought to you this week by Churchill Insurance. Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Other sustainability news services are available, but this is just funner! Thank you, Sam. The EV Cafe News is regulated by Big Stuart Interval, Sparky from My Energy, Tucker from the AA, installed by EV Civils, monitored by Geotab, and insured by Churchill. We are the EV Cafe, supporting the transition to clean transport. Until next Friday. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
I love that little bit of music at the end.